Good morning, children. I hope you are doing well. Today we are going to work on possessive nouns, identifying if a noun is possessive, it's singular or plural, if it's correct in its possessive case, and then how we change phrases to possessives. We've watched a brain pop. We've played some Jeopardy. You've downloaded some notes to your computer, and I've kind of went over those notes with you. And now we're going to do this worksheet. So, as always, I will read these to you. See if I can get it. Is that too big? Do I need to move my bumbus head? Can I move it big enough to where it's not in the way? It kind of is. Let's make it a wee bit smaller. There we go. Okay. And then, I think that's it. I kind of had a brain fart there. Okay, there's going to be 3 sections to this worksheet. This worksheet will be worth 24 points. Part 1, directions. Change the possessive noun's color to red and then say whether it is singular or plural by changing the letter to blue. Notice how I made nouns possessive because who owns the color? The noun does. Little stinker. So I'll read them, and then we'll do number 3 together. Number 1, the wasp's sting should have an adult's attention. And then we're going to say, is it singular or plural? And we'll mess with that. And obviously, since we see 2 letters, we know there's 2 possessives in there. 2, termites' nests are the most amazing sights. 3, moths' bodies are plumper than butterflies' bodies. 4, those children's lunches are being attacked by ants. 5, a queen bee's lifespan is about 4 years. So let's go up and let's do number 3 together. I know we usually do number 1 together, but I think number 3 is a little more difficult. So we see that, again, a possessive is made when we add an S apostrophe or just an apostrophe or an apostrophe S to a word. Again, it shows ownership of something. That's specifically not a pronoun. It's an actual noun that becomes a possessive, almost becomes like an adjective. So we see the first thing is we ask ourselves, what are the nouns in this sentence? Well, we see bodies and we see bodies. Can we ask ourselves, who or what kind of bodies? Yes, we can. We can see moths. So the first bodies is being owned by the moths. So we're going to change moths to red. And then we're going to ask ourselves, is it singular or plural? Well, based off those notes we looked at, because we see the S apostrophe, moths already had the S because we're talking about more than one moth. So, and I just said it, because moth in singular case is just moth. It doesn't have the S. When we have the S, we are talking about moths, more than one moth. So when we have the apostrophe just by itself at the end, we know that's talking about more than one moth. So we are going to take, and we're going to make the P blue. Then we see a second one. Moths' bodies are plumper than butterflies' bodies. Again, we ask ourselves, what's the nouns? We see it's bodies. Who's owning the second bodies? The butterflies are. Now, we know that butterfly, when it is a singular, it ends with a Y. And so when we're talking about more than one butterfly, we take off the Y and we add an IES. So if we didn't have the apostrophe, we would just be talking about multiple butterflies. But since we have the apostrophe at the end, we're talking about the ownership of multiple butterflies. So we're going to take and we're going to highlight the word butterflies. We're going to change it to red. Then again, since we're talking about multiple butterflies and we know that it's plural, because we change, I just said this 20 seconds ago. Again, butterfly is FLY at the end, but since we're talking about more than one butterfly, we drop the Y and change it to IES. So we know this is a plural. So that's how we do this one. So there are two of them in number one, and then you have to say singular or plural. There's one in number two, obviously one in number 4 and 5. So number one is worth 4 points total. Number 2 is worth 6. Number 3 is worth 4. So that's 10 points. And then 4 and 5 are worth 2 points apiece. So that's 14 points there. And my math might be wrong. Oh, no, am I wrong? No. Hold on. I was told there'd be no math. 4, 6, 10, 12, 14. Yep. Okay. Part 2, directions. Decide whether the possessive noun is correct or incorrect in its usage. Change the text color of the letter, not orange, stupid, to orange. I'll fix that on yours. I'll do it right now because I'm on mine. Hello again. Goodbye again. Okay. And notice here again, its usage. Remember, we don't put an apostrophe with its, because if we put an apostrophe with its, that makes it is, or it was, or it has. So, 1, can you describe a grasshopper's wings? 2, some of the insects are farmers' friends because they eat harmful insects. 3, a ladybug's diet is chiefly insect pests and their eggs. 4, like the leaders of bees, wasps' leaders are known as queens. I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, can you do that? Not that queen, I guess. 5, most caterpillars' colonies are found among tree branches. So, let's go back up to 1. So, can we describe a grasshopper's wings? So, when we see the word a, we're just talking about one grasshopper. We're not talking about a plethora, a multitude of grasshoppers. So, this one, I'm going to highlight in orange. Not highlight, I'm going to change the text color to orange and say that is incorrect. Because again, we're only talking about one grasshopper. So if we're talking about one grasshopper, you do not have to change the apostrophe. I'm just doing this. It would look like this: a grasshopper's wings, not a plethora of grasshoppers' wings. So again, you don't have to change the apostrophe, just change the color of the letter. Each one of these is worth 1 point. Make sure you are changing the text color in orange to C or IN. If you're not doing that, you're not getting points. Part 3, directions. Okay, it is worth 24 points. Sometimes I can't count. We're going to change each phrase to a possessive phrase. We know how to do this, kiddos, because we do this in our warm-ups. I think it's on Thursdays. So, the flight of the geese, the cries of the children, wool from the sheep, the cottage of the family, the sting of the wasp. So all of these are just, again, these aren't sentences. These are just noun phrases. where flight, cries, wool, cottage, and sting is our subject, and then of the geese, of the children, from the sheep, of the family, of the wasps. Those are all prepositional phrases. So let's do number 4 together. So to make this a possessive phrase and not just a noun phrase, we have to take and make the object of the preposition, the geese, the children, the sheep, the families, the wasp. We have to make that the possessive. So to say, and we have to say who's owning it, the cottage of the family. Well, we would say it's the family's cottage. So we would say the families. Now, again, how do we make families possessive? Because remember, if we're talking about a multitude, many, a plethora of families, like Pinata, shut up, tight, yes, sir, we would make families like this. That is more than one family. So we're not doing that type of family, kiddos. We are saying families with an apostrophe S, because we're only talking about one family. Family's cottage. So this is how we would take the cottage of the families and make it a possessive phrase. We would call it the family's cottage with an apostrophe S. So that's what you're doing with the flight of the geese, the cries of the children, the wool from the sheep, and the sting of the wasps. You're changing this noun phrase and you're making it into a possessive phrase. This is worth 5 points apiece. So total, this is worth 24 points. You should have enough time to finish this in class. If not, do it for homework. Raise your hand in class if you need assistance from me. If we have remote learning, remote learners, unmute yourself and I will help you, or message me through Schoolology. Thank you very much, pirates, and have a super sparkly day.